Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions. And this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
Three? I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly
Answer the
confused.
question.
So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged.
Intersex.
But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
And what
say
does intersex mean?
is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex, okay? There's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I talk to young people that talk about non-binary as...
More than five?
I think the gender is not a binary is what I'm trying to say.
Are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than five genders?
Well, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our gender that are expansive.
Are there more than five?
This is the thing I really despise about the liberals and the leftists, and people love to say I generalize, but yes. They can never answer a question directly. He's asking, is there more than five genders? And you start talking about you wearing pants. What the heck has that got to do with anything? You can't answer because you know you're wrong. And the problem with these people is they don't care about the truth. They don't want to know the truth, and they run from the truth. So when she's asked a question, she starts rambling all about something that's irrelevant to the question.
Five?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is that gender is a reflection.
Number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
All right. Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are three sexes. Male, female, and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl. Okay, biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician, and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
You have got to be kidding me. You can't speak to the fact of whether men in general are physically superior to women. You can't speak to that fact. And these are people who are in our society who will be voting for the leaders of our country. And she can't even agree to the fact that, yeah, in general, men are physically superior to women. She can't even agree to a basic biological fact. You've got to be kidding me.
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are
You don't
shorter.
believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is strong.
Yeah, you've got to be kidding me. We already tested and tried that already between Serena Williams and her sister, and they lost to a man who is ranked around 200, and they got their ass beat. So yeah, you're talking out of your bum, and that's just incorrect. And you could flail and talk how and blah 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 and just talk rubbish all you want, but that's already been proven to be incorrect.
Longer than
James,
that.
what's your experience been? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Okay. I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female. I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility. I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves. And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business. But if what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too. And I think parents have rights. And I think biological females have rights to be able to compete fairly in sport, in sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony. Thank you, Mr.
Senator
Chairman.
Kennedy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And what he said was absolutely true. And as I keep saying, it's a very, very sad reality that we've come to in society where we can't even agree on the basic fact that in general, most men are physically superior to women. We can't even agree on that basic fact. And as I keep saying, women like her or people like her are going to be people who will be voting for the next leaders of society and countries. And they can't even concede to a fact that, yeah, more likely than not, if you were to race against a man or if you were to compete against a man in any sport, you're more than likely going to lose. And she couldn't even concede to that. But anyway, that was another video, another reaction. As I usually say, if you guys enjoyed the video, like the video as much as possible, comment down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at YinkaThatGuy, and I am out.